poi alla fine è tutto quadrato.
Amore, quel bordo è il bordo...
Qui c'è l'acqua, qui c'è il fondo dell'acqua e uno sale così. Pop, pop, e arrivi, il pianerottolo arriva qua? Sì, il pianerottolo arriva qua.
Ok.
Quindi da qui abbiamo un pianerottolo di 2 metri per 1,40 m che possiamo restringere. Io lo farei 1 metro per così, perché te in 1 metro può stare sdraiato, può stare seduto, fa come ti pare. Sì. Per quello.
Forse ha ragione.
Perché siamo qui a ragionare di sta
Sì, sì, sì.
Che poi essendo 2 metri lungo,
Sì.
ci può stare 4 persone.
No, io non saprei perché io faccio sempre le vasche, anche i miei genitori fanno sempre le vasche, ma ci hanno detto chi ha figli dicono ma vi serve una piattaforma per i figli, per i bambini piccoli.
1 metro per 2 metri è una bella piattaforma. Sicuramente c'è abbastanza posto. Quanto occupa il culo di uno? La Madonna. Se ti vuoi affacciare ci sto io da questa
So I'm preserving a simple tomato sauce of onion, cherry tomatoes, garlic, basil, olive oil, and salt. I'm sautéing it in small batches, which I think tastes better than just boiling it all in a big pot. I don't want to make smooth passata. I want a sauce that is full of flavor and texture and ready to serve with pasta without adding anything else, or perhaps just adding some meat or some fish. apparently adding a little lemon juice creates the right pH level, so it's this really acidic environment that will prevent bacteria from growing. Done one. It's like a little time capsule. It's so crazy to think next time I open you, I'll have a child. So it seems so surreal. Ciao. See you in a couple of months. So we had just exploding tomatoes everywhere. This heat, it's still 40 degrees in Tuscany, well, in this part of Tuscany, and it is just boiling all of the tomatoes. So I went around and did this big harvest, but now just even the last 2 days more have grown, and we didn't want to waste them. And then I also thought that everyone keeps telling me that we will be sleep deprived and like zombies once the baby comes and I'm breastfeeding, hopefully, if I manage to do that. And so it's a good idea to have meals prepared. And I just love, don't you just love the idea of having a delicious meal that you've prepared in a moment of calm that is a gift to your future self when you're in a moment of chaos or just fatigue. And there is this beautiful cellar here on the farmhouse, and I showed it in a previous episode, I think a year ago or something, when I interviewed Egisto, the caretaker on the farm, and it's this trapdoor in the floor, and then you walk down, and we keep wine in there now, but they used to keep cheeses and everything before refrigeration. Is that Guido?
Ciao.
Ciao, amore. Look, doesn't this look delicious?
Yes.
Guarda.
Bello. Beautiful.
No? Look at all the garlic and onion. Buono. Ma vedi quanto c'è? You want to taste it?
It's lunchtime.
Well, do you want to eat some now? Is there some pasta?
Sì.
Come on, because I have a whole other pot in the fridge of this. You want to get in? How is it? Good, yeah. And I'm putting some, so I cooked it just at the very end with a little bit of basil, because if you cook it the whole time it gets bitter, and then I'm going to put some fresh basil in, and then I have the little thing of lemon juice to help them
Ma ce ne
preserve.
metti poco?
Pochissimo, sì, just a tiny little, un cucchiaio.
Ho capito.
And then I need to boil them again, so with a tea towel. Anyway, you want lunch, right?
Ho lavato l'insalata, ho raccolto i pomodori, il basilico.
There's so much going on, but a little update on the pool. After all of that discussion about what color to do the lining, and so many of you wrote to me actually with ideas from your own pools or from Pinterest, and thank you for that. And we were discussing it, I mean, for months, and then we find out from the local council that we're not allowed to choose the color of our pool lining because that's just, as I've said many times before, that's just the way Italy is. There's very strict rules about the visual aesthetics of your home, and so the color that we have to choose is beige. And we went to this neighbor nearby, but in a different is classed as being in a different zona, a different neighborhood. I mean, it's so close, but and they have grey, which to be honest didn't look as good as I thought. I was really hoping, as I showed in my mood boards, for more of a turquoise finish, because I think it looks a little bit more rustic and not so modern. And yet the grey that they'd done, it didn't look so good, or Guido and I didn't really like it. Anyway, the point is we had a look, and I'll just put in some footage of Guido to show you. He took in a little scrap of the lining that we have to use, the beige. I think it will look pretty nice. And then so many of you said about the horrible danger of children drowning and wanting to see to the bottom for safety. So I think the beige will look lovely. And then we went also to the Maranista, which is the stonemason who is carving the travertine that we're putting around the border. So we're choosing the travertine for the border of the pool. We like it with lots of holes in it, but that makes it hard to clean, but it does look more rustic.
Yeah, we want it because we want it as rustic as possible.
We've had builders here every weekend for the last, well, I don't know, month or so, and during the week on and off, the electrician and the plumbers when they can come, and funnily enough, we haven't done anything on the master bedroom and ensuite bathroom because they just had to do the biggest job, which was drilling into all of the thick stone walls, so that we could have air conditioning and heating and Wi-Fi. So they've been doing all these holes, and that was the part that Guido was the most stressed about, understandably. Some people are not understanding why we need to put holes in the walls. Do you want to just explain it? Because they say, why with air conditioners do you have to put...
Now, there are different types of air conditioners. You can have the ones that don't have an external engine, motor, or you call it, and they are called in Italy unico. So for every room you should put that machine with 2 holes in the wall, so you see the holes, and they are, I'd never had them, but I know that they work quite decently, and that would have been one solution. But they are not as powerful as the ones that are so-called pompe di calore. So these pompe di calore have an external motor that then goes to the internal machine through 3 tubes. You need 1 tubo di rame, come si dice?
A copper pipe, yeah.
So, for example, in the bedroom, we will have the big copper tube.
Yeah.
That goes in and brings in a gas that's or heated or freezed.
Yeah.
And this is the tube that goes back to the machine, plus 1 tube that will bring electricity and the control. So the machine that is inside is controlled by the motor. Okay? And then you need a tube that goes out and takes out la condensa, non so come si dice.
The condensation?
Yeah, condensation. These machines create condensation. So this tube is for the condensation that will go then in the waste parts and stuff.
So this is all the... and then we're going to have to think about repainting everything. That's for when my parents arrive. If you're wondering why they're doing so many projects at once, because it's just easier if they do it to do the whole house, because otherwise we'd have to pay someone to drive 2.5 hours to get here just to do an hour job, whereas it's better to just get them to do the entire house, or at least we're not going to have, we can't afford to have heating and everything in the entire house, but just on the main floor that we live on. And then we will rely on fireplaces and things in other rooms, or for example, this room was always very shady and doesn't sort of get a lot of that really harsh sun, so it's quite cool because it used to be the stable. That's sort of been the priority. However, we've been getting all the little bits and pieces, all of the brass taps and shower heads and everything arrived, which was quite exciting for the bathroom. And then what else? Oh, hang on, I just have to think about what I'm doing here. And then we went and chose the terracotta. Thank you for everyone who said they preferred the hexagonal shape. We ended up going with that hexagonal shape, and the samples arrived the other day, and they look really beautiful. It's funny because everywhere we go to a supplier, they keep trying to sell us on things that are very shiny and polished and chic, and Guido and I just don't really, it's not what we want, which is good because it's cheaper. They're saying you can get this polish on even for the border of the pool. You can have it be super polished, the travertine, but we sort of like a look that's a bit more rough. Apparently you have to clean this part very well, otherwise mold forms, but I hope this is a success. Don't know. I'm not an expert on canning or preserving, basically because when I cook normally, there's barely even any leftovers, let alone something that could last longer than a week. So this is a new area for me. It smells so delicious. I'll start with this, and then I'd like to get into preserving meats and fish, and because you can imagine having a delicious ragu just already done. That'd be wonderful. And I don't know, maybe someone who's an expert on preserving can tell me if there's anything. I suppose you just have to do the same process, but be extra vigilant about making sure everything's sterile. Is that it? But if you were to add meat or fish or something to this sauce, how do you ensure that it's all safe? A lot of you seem to grow your own vegetables, so I'm sure someone will tell me what to do, what not to do. Although I have to say, we're speaking to a lot of Italian women who around here who have been preserving things for their whole lives, and they don't do anything like, for example, like adding in the lemon juice to increase the acidity to make sure bacteria don't form. They just put the lids on them. Obviously they sterilize them, but they I suppose people used to be a lot less pedantic about bacteria and things. I don't know why it makes me so happy. And then our bath arrived as well, so that's currently in Guido's office. So we have the terracotta, the tiles. We asked for one more, the artisanal tiles that everyone was deciding between the pink and the blue. And we asked for one more sample in turquoise, just to check in case we wanted to do that, because it's sort of, if they're all going to be made by hand, we thought we may as well just double check if the colour's right. Although I guess we were leaning towards, we've sort of jettisoned that blue because it just felt a bit too cool and a bit too bright for what we're going with the other materials. So it's now down to that rose colour or this turquoise, which should be arriving actually in the next few days. So yes, we have the tiles, we have the taps, we have the terracotta, we have the bath. I still need to order. We have the sink that you saw us buy as well. All these different pieces. So we're almost there, and hopefully once we find, we still haven't quite found a building company that is able to do the work on the bathroom. But the priority has just been putting in all the heating and air conditioning units, and because of all the holes that have to be made through these thick walls. I'm hoping, Guido says, we will have the bathroom and our new master bedroom and ensuite bathroom by the time the baby is born. I don't know about that, but whatever, we can only do our best. We can't really control things. I mean, it takes however long it takes, and honestly, these workmen working in these conditions, in this heat, I don't even know how they show up. It must just be torture doing such heavy work. I mean, they're holding these big, what are they called, to drill the stone? Well, you know what I mean. 6 done, probably another 20 or so to go, but I might just start boiling these so you can see that part of the process, and then they'll go down to the cellar. And I suppose the thing is that they say, you know, now you can hear that. And if I've done this correctly, and if I boil them correctly and they're sealed properly, you shouldn't be able to hear that. So it should pop to show that it's sealing, and then you won't hear that. Let's see, my first time preserving, if I've been successful. Everybody's snug and comfy and with their little blankets so that the glass doesn't clash against each other. And now I'm just going to fill it up with hot water and boil them. And the water has to be covering the lids. I'll have to wait for Guido to lift this because I shouldn't be lifting. As the jars cool down, if they've sealed properly, you should hear each one pop like this. What do you think?
Beautiful.
Brava quasi.
È velina, no?
Sì, sì, molto.
It's so much cooler down here. It's amazing the temperature drop. It's like being in a fridge almost. Okay, so where should we put our rows of sugo? Thank you for watching. See you next time. Alla prossima.